Good evening, everybody. How's everyone tonight?
Hey, Sean, doing well. Nick Solitro, how's it going?
Hey, Nick. I'm just looking at our panelist list right here. We have Sean, Karen, yourself, and Dan right now. And it looks like Dan's video is disabled, but it looks like his audio is okay.
Yeah, my video, I can't. It says you got it disabled. I can't enable it.
Yeah,
Okay.
mine too.
Okay, I can go ahead and correct that. I'll go ahead and do that one moment here.
Hi, Sean. Could you let me open my video?
Okay, I think everybody should be able to turn on their videos for if you're a panelist. There we go. How you doing, Mary Ellen?
Good, thank you. And yourself?
Good, thanks.
How's everybody?
Good.
I'm
Good.
doing great. I just got back from meeting my 12th grandson for grand trial, sixth grandson.
Wow.
Congratulations.
There you go. Good for you.
Pretty exciting stuff. Just a long trip.
So I'm just waiting for Karen Ellsworth to arrive. I think we have a quorum otherwise.
Mm.
So Nick, I'm not sure if you want to wait a minute or so. We can.
Let's give her a minute.
Okay.
And I only say that because she's done the same for me many a time, so I owe her
Okay.
solid.
Is Jeff not attending tonight?
I don't see Jeff on the call just yet.
No.
Looks like we have everybody else though.
Yeah, I think so. Is that Bo? That's the phone number?
The 302 number
Yes.
is Bo. Yep.
Yeah, Jeff had said he would be here. I was looking back on the responses.
I said I was going to be there too, but at 6 o'clock, I realized I had a meeting tonight. Thank
Oh,
God it
boy.
was. Oh, yeah, that's what I said. It was on my calendar. I just didn't see it for some reason. Oh, she's gonna stop barking now. Sean, you know, just shut me off if she starts to bark. What are you barking at? Come on. Wanna come down? Wanna come down? Wait, come on. She's okay.
Nick, I see we have minutes to approve, but I'm not able to locate them. Are they somewhere?
I got them from our esteemed zoning board clerk in the mail, but if I don't know, you're obviously on your computer. If you go in your email and the links that Sam sent us has a link to the minutes if you wanted to look at those. That's how I just got them on my screen.
Is this since the notification of the meeting?
The approval of minutes, no, let's see. It would have been with the materials we got in the mail as well as they post this online for everybody to see.
Yeah. Yeah, I went to the town site and don't see any minutes past December 21st.
Let's see. I'm just forwarding you Sam Patton's email, which has a link, and then you can go to the link and let's see here. There should be a blue hyperlink with the materials.
Okay.
Yeah, Daniel, it looks like we have January and February minutes available through ClerkBase. There should be a link.
Have we heard from Karen Ellsworth?
No, not yet. I can try giving her a call.
Yeah, give her a call. Let's see if we can get her on the phone.
It's a chance she may have forgotten, but that's not typically like her. Let me try giving her a call momentarily here.
Sure. Thanks.
I'm following that link and it's still, has the agendas for 21, but when I click on the minutes, I'm only seeing 20.
Let's see.
That was the same. It took me to the same place as when I went to the
Oh, really?
website, and it's not giving me minutes there. Let's see. Okay.
Yeah, if you see the agenda on your computer, I'm looking at B, approval of minutes, and then the two dates, January 25th and February 22nd, are in blue. And if you click those,
Embedded in the agenda.
yeah.
Okay. All right, that worked.
All right.
And our town solicitor should be joining us any moment now.
Great. Thanks, Sean.
Okay, and she's here now. So if you want, Mr. Chair, I go ahead and begin recording the meeting.
Sure.
And we'll be live.
Sure. Go ahead, Sean. Thank you.
Dog had to go out.
Okay, Mr. Chair, we are ready.
All right. Thank you. We will call the March 22nd, 2021 Richmond Zoning Board of Review meeting to order in accordance with Executive Order 20-05 by then Governor Gina Raimondo, which I understand we're continuing with the same format under the new governor. This meeting is being teleconferenced on Zoom. I will now take a roll call. Chair Nick Solitro is present. Vice Chair Jeff Valancourt, I believe he's not here at the moment. We do expect him. We'll see if he comes. Board member Sean Carney.
Present.
Board member Chelsea Batinger. Chelsea, you're just muted.
She's muted.
I see you're here, Chelsea. I saw you say present. I know you'll work on the technical issues.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can. Thank you, Chelsea.
Okay.
Board,
My headphones, but I'm here.
all right.
Okay.
Board member Daniel Jarsfer,
Present.
board alternate Karen Bazzano,
Present.
and board alternate Lindsay Hannon.
Present.
We also have present town solicitor Karen Ellsworth, town planner Sean Lacey, zoning official Russell Bo Brown, and zoning clerk Samantha Patton, as well as our stenographer Mary Ellen Hall. Just for everybody's information, I know a lot of people haven't attended meetings in this format. We need to ensure that in order to maintain order and avoid background noise, we'll keep everybody muted as we review each agenda item, and we'll unmute those individuals who wish to speak as we move through the agenda. How we do that, if you're joining us by computer or on the Zoom app or on your phone, you have an option to raise your hand. So if you wish to make a comment during any agenda item, again, you will be muted, but you can raise your hand using your user controls on your smartphone or computer or telephone, and we'll unmute you. Specifically, if you're joining us by phone and wish to raise your hand, you'll need to dial *9, and that will have an indication to us that you're raising your hand. And once called upon, you'll dial *6 to unmute yourself. So that's for those of you on telephones calling in with audio. You'll press *9 to raise your hand. And once we call upon you by your phone number, you'll dial *6 to unmute yourself. I'm probably the biggest hypocrite here, but I want to remind zoning board members and the public, each time you speak, identify yourself so that our stenographer is able to attribute what you're saying to a particular person. This is especially important for when the board is voting. Before we go to approval of minutes, I just want to thank the members of the board. As you know, I had to recuse myself for a matter that was heard over a period of months. Because of a professional conflict of interest. As you know, we try to do everything on the up and up on the board. And from what I understand, everybody did an excellent job. So credit to you all. And I know it was something of a cop out by me, but again, we try to do everything on the up and up, and we can't have any appearances of impropriety, if you will. So credit to you all for getting through what I understand is a tough one. And I thank you, and I am knowledgeable of the fact that we have an excellent board here in Richmond. That brings us to the approval of minutes, which is item B. Has everybody had an opportunity to review the minutes of January 25th, 2021 and February 22nd, 2021? I have. Any issues with those meeting minutes? Any comments?
Yeah, I have, just looking at the part where Mr. Brown is testifying.
What date is that, Daniel?
It's the first set, the January
Okay.
the 25th on page 1, 2, 3. Attorney Casiano asks if Jay Berry was asked the probably subject suitable solar system. R. Brown said yes after his review of 1834-30 reads the solar energy. He determined the entire solar energy system had to be considered within a 2. Okay, I didn't read. I was wanting to make sure that was clear because I had read it with it, the words flipped. So yeah, that's fine. Sometimes reading it out loud, it sounds clearer.
No problem. And any other comments by anybody? If there are none, is there a motion to approve the minutes from January 25th, 2021 and February 22nd, 2021?
Chelsea Batinger, I make a approve the minutes from the meeting of January 25th, 2021 and February 22nd, 2021.
Is there a
Sean
second?
Carney, I'll second.
All right, so we have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Nick Solitro.
Chelsea
Aye,
Batinger,
Sean
aye.
Carney.
Daniel Jarst for aye.
Lindsay Hannon, aye.
I believe Chelsea and I, this is Sean, I believe Chelsea and I spoke at the same time.
Okay. So that's all ayes. I have it. All right. That will bring us to agenda item C, continued business. The application of Wawalome Reservation, Inc. for a special use permit to modify a previously approved special use permit such that applicant wishes to replace approving batting cages with a 70 by 165 foot storage building for the campground. These premises were located at 510 Gardner Road, Richmond, Rhode Island, Assessor's Plat 1E, Lot 17, 10 through 15, and 19-2 pursuant to Chapter 18.48 and Chapter 18.52 of the Richmond zoning ordinance. This has been continued since August, and in my opinion, of no fault of the applicant. They have been dealing with a zoning board that has been swamped, for lack of a better word, with one matter that required particular attention. So that being said, I believe counsel represents the applicant. He may be calling in. Is Attorney Steve Fredette here?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for the opportunity. I'm on with my client, Miss Maureen Smith,
Good evening, Counselor.
who is the owner and operator of Walloon Campground.
Floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. Thank you for the opportunity to present here tonight. My goal is to be brief and to the point. I know you've had some marathon meetings, and I'd like to break that trend if at all possible. So with that being said, we are here tonight. I do want to clarify that I did send in a letter saying that we're asking this application to stand on its own. It should be treated as an independent application. In my discussions with your counselor, it is, while in lay terms, it's a modification of a prior special use permit. I think from a statutory perspective, we have to treat it as an independent application and look at it on its own merits. Further, in that letter, I distanced it from the batting cages, as in a little deeper review. Prior counsel to me had actually agreed that those would not be built or would be built under very unique conditions. So we're stepping away from the batting cages and asking that this building be evaluated on its own in own merits. And in that regard,
Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry to interrupt. Does he need to be sworn in, or was he sworn in previously?
I don't believe so. As counsel for the applicant, I don't believe so.
Nick, he doesn't need to be sworn in, but his client does need to be sworn in.
Sure.
And I believe Mary Ellen might need to see her to swear her in. Am I correct, Mary Ellen?
According to the Secretary of State Notary Public Office, I am supposed to see them and see their photo ID.
Stephen, do you have a device that will allow you to get audio?
Yes,
video as well as audio?
yeah, we're on a tablet. Oh, here we go. Sorry, I didn't have all of my options that just popped up. So here we
Okay.
are. You should be able to see us now.
Yep. Good, thank you. And Daniel, you're absolutely right. Stephen was testifying, but he wasn't testifying. So
He has a tendency to do that, in my
yeah, I
experience.
know. He does, doesn't he?
I pontificate. I apologize.
Listen,
Yeah,
I appreciate the background information. I truly do.
If you want to get that in the record, Stephen, you're going to have to get it in through Mrs. Smith, because you're the lawyer, so you're not allowed to testify.
I understand. I'm
Okay.
providing, as Mr. Salitro said, providing some background information and some things that I think are relevant before we get down to specific testimony. So I would ask that Ms. Smith be sworn in at this time.
Ms. Smith, do you have a photograph ID, your driver's license, or a federal passport? Could you
My
please-
driver's license.
All right, could you please put it closer so I can see it? You have to go to your right. Go to your right. That's it. Now, hold it still if you can. Thank you.
Thank you.
Right, raise your right hand, ma'am, please. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
I do.
Please state your full name for the record.
Maureen Smith.
Thank you.
Ms. Smith, you are the owner of the campground here located in Richmond, known as Walloon Campground.
Yes, I am.
And how long have you operated this campground and owned it with your family?
This would be our 52nd year, I believe.
And you and your husband, your late husband, were the founders of the campground, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And you've applied for a special use permit previously to expand the campground, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and that would be the prior special use permit that we referenced in our application, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and as we are here today asking for a storage building, correct?
Yes, we are.
And we have submitted an application requesting that, correct?
Correct.
And we submitted some supplemental documents, specifically a overflight map that's labeled July 2016 RIGIS aerial overlay for proposed storage building, correct?
Yes.
And you contracted with Jackson Surveying to provide those documents, correct?
Yes, I did.
Okay, and you believe that's an accurate representation of where you intend to locate the structure on the property?
Yes, it is.
And what is your intended purpose for this structure?
The intended purpose is to have a watertight area that we can put our equipment in, and also have a covered area that we can work on our equipment when it needs it.
In the off-season primarily?
Primarily, yes.
And you believe, now why did you locate it in its proposed location?
Because it's out of the way. You can't see it. It's off the road. It's,
So you don't believe you can see it from any roadway?
no, you can't.
And do you believe that you can see it, in your opinion, and it's only your opinion, do you believe you can see it from any of the adjacent lots?
No,
Okay. And do you believe that it is located in such a way that it's actually using the natural trees and topography of the site in order to shield it from all other parties?
well, it is shielded because it has trees all around it.
And those trees are located within your control on the campground, correct?
Yes, they are.
Okay. And you don't intend to store anyone else's equipment at this site, correct?
No,
You're not bringing in outside equipment to store on the site?
in no way.
Okay.
No,
Do you believe that the proposed use will in any way harm the the uses and the nature of the surrounding properties?
no,
Do you believe that the proposed use and or or the proposed building and or the location where it's sited will result in any conditions that harm the public or impact public safety or welfare?
no.
Do you believe it to be in harmony with the general purpose and intent of the zoning statute? Yes.
Yes, I believe it is.
Okay, and it's set, and you're not infringing on any setbacks. You're well back from all property lines, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Do you believe that it would have any environmental effects on your property or the surrounding property?
No,
In fact, it will actually be a safe place to locate all of your equipment, correct?
yes,
Get it out of the rain and stop the rust.
correct.
Okay. Do you believe it will any way impact proposed uses or traffic circulation or safety?
No,
Okay. And do you think it will generate any noise, odors, or any other effects that that aren't mitigated by locating it in and amongst all of these trees?
no, it's not going to adversely affect anything like that.
Okay. Fair to say that those trees are a mix of what we call deciduous or leafy trees and evergreen trees?
Yes,
Okay, so that stand of trees will provide cover year round, correct?
yes.
I would open up Mrs. Smith to any questions the board members may have at this point. Again, I'm just trying to get right to the point here.
Can I make a suggestion, Nick, before you go any further? Stephen, do you want to introduce that site plan as an exhibit?
Yes, very much so, please.
Okay, Sam, could you make a note of the exhibit number and the description that Mr. Serta is going to give you in extreme detail in just a moment?
Sure.
And that is the item that we'd like added in as exhibit 1 would be the Jackson surveying plan, which is labeled July 2016 RIGIS aerial overlay for proposed storage building, lot 17 of Assessor's Plot 1E, prepared for Walloon Reservation, Inc.
All right. I believe Attorney Surdet left it to the members of the board. Are there any questions from members of the board? I just have a couple, Ms. Smith. Good evening. How are you?
Fine, how are you?
I'm great. Attorney Surdet anticipated, I think, one of the questions I was going to ask about the trees surrounding the proposed site. He told the board, or rather through your testimony, we learned that it's deciduous trees as well as evergreen trees. And I'll say that in prefacing my question. I see 2 lots on the property, or in the area of the property, lot 17-1 and 17-2. Do you see those on the Jackson survey?
Yes,
Are there houses on both of those lots? I only see a house on lot 17-2.
There are houses on both of those lots.
Okay. So back to what I was prefacing with the trees. If you're standing in the proposed storage building area, can you see those houses, or do the trees block your view of those houses?
The trees block the view of both houses, actually.
And is that, obviously trees often lose leaves in the winter, or not evergreen trees, but
Yes.
is that year round you cannot see those houses, or are there times when you can see them from the proposed storage building?
Well, the lots are pretty heavily wooded on lot 17-2. 17-1 has a lot of trees on his own lot, so most of the time you can't see that either.
Okay.
And Mr. Chairman, I will state for the record, both of those lots are owned by members of Ms. Smith's family as well.
Okay, that's helpful. I appreciate that. And Ms. Smith, how these trees I'm looking at on the aerial map, it doesn't give me, and it wouldn't, an idea of the height of these trees. Are these, I'm assuming these are very tall trees.
Most of them are very tall trees, yes.
And I see in the materials, the proposed height of the building is, at least what I was able to gauge, about 24 feet. Is that
Correct.
accurate?
Yes.
And if I may, Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead.
there are both, the reason you say most of the trees is that there are actually new trees growing in that grove located adjacent to 17-1, correct?
Correct.
And you allow that to continue to revegetate and regenerate over time, correct?
Yes.
I noticed in the materials, there was a suggestion that the proposed site is buffered by ground level vegetation. Ms. Smith, what's on the ground? If I were to stand at the proposed storage building area looking towards, let's say, either lot 17-1 or 17-2, I understand there's big tall trees there. What's on the ground level? Is that brush that is difficult to see through, or what am I looking at?
No, it's mostly gravel or lawn area. There is some lawn there.
If I may inquire, Mr. Chairman,
Sure, thank you.
within this grove of dense trees, there's also ground level scrub brush.
Scrub brush, yeah.
And bushes and shrubbery, correct?
Well, there's a low level undergrowth type thing. But it's kind of varied. There's tall trees and there's short trees and.
So it creates a true visual buffer in that it's not just all tall trees with trunks down below or all short shrub trees. It's a good mix of a fully developed area of, or a mature area of trees, correct?
Yeah.
Adjacent to
Adjacent to
17-1.
it, yes.
And another ground level protection that's in place is the existing earthen berm between the proposed area and lot 2.5.
Yes, there's a berm there and plantings.
And what type of plantings and where are they located?
Those are evergreens. They're in back of the berm and there's also some on the berm.
Okay. And that would be what you could conceivably be the closest lot that's not owned by your family, correct?
Correct.
Although some of the folks down below or down to the west on Gardner Road may actually be closer, correct?
Correct, but we can't see them.
Okay.
They can't see us.
It slopes down back there,
It
correct?
slopes down, yes. They can't see anything in here.
Any other questions from members of the board?
Yes, this is Chelsea Batinger. Ms. Smith, what type of equipment are we talking about that it's going to be stored in this proposed storage building?
Mowers, tractor, bulldozer, dump truck, skid steer. We have some golf carts. We have chipper, wood chipper. This is all equipment that we use for maintenance of the campground. And right now it's parked in various places in this area, but of course it's not undercover, which is what primarily I'm looking for.
Okay, thank you.
And Ms. Smith, you and your campground, your employees and your family do all of the maintenance on the farm or on the campground yourself, correct?
Yes, we do.
Any other questions for Ms. Smith? All right, I don't have any myself. I don't see any others. Believe at this point, Karen Ellsworth, we open it to public comment.
Karen, you're muted. If you're
Yes, you can do that.
Okay. All right. That being said, are there any members of the public? I do see one hand raised. I don't know if I have the ability, Sean Lacey, to allow that person to talk. The hand that I see raised is 401-486. And the rest of the numbers just escaped on me. But I know Sean Lacey will allow that person to speak.
Yep, that person should be unmuted now.
All right.
Hi, this is
486-6591. Go ahead.
Hi, this is Diane Haley. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Good evening.
Hi, how are you?
Good. Go ahead. Feel free to speak.
All right. Okay, great. So we've listened to everything, but I do have a few questions on the proposed building. We live on lot 2-5, 5 Bell Schoolhouse Road. We run adjacent to the campground. So I just have some concerns about the actual placement of this building. I have a general idea where it is. When I'm standing at my property, looking across, there's a massive amount of firewood. Is that building going to be past that mound of firewood closer to Hillsdale Road?
I understand.
I'm not sure I understand the question if it's directed to us by and through the chair. So I defer to you, Mr. Salicho.
Whoever can answer. I'm concerned about the placement of the building, exactly where it's going to be built. Because I know you referenced the vegetated berm, that 40-foot berm that goes across my property, along my property line. I mean, there's very little trees on top. I don't get a whole lot of coverage from the campground. So I have concerns that I'm going to be able to see this building. Now I see a massive firewood business. So my question is, where, and compared to where all that firewood is, where is this building going to be? Is it going to be up near all the firewood, or is it going to be closer down by Hillsdale Road?
Ms. Smith, if you understand the question and have an answer, you may answer.
If I may speak for my client, I'm going to suggest that it will be it will be at or below or at or west of the berm, of the end of the berm, relative to Gardner or Hillsdale Road at the back, which is the road you see along the back or the western edge of the campground property, adjacent, running along the edge of 17-1 and 17-2. So, and I believe, Ms. Haley, your house is located just towards the right at the, again, I'm referencing Exhibit 1 lot, where your lot is labeled lot 2.5. So my understanding is your house is right there at the back by the edge of the clearing. So it would be located closer to Hillsdale Road than your house, and at or below, at or west of the beginning of the berm.
Okay. When this building goes up, is someone from the town going to inspect to make sure it's where it's supposed to be?
I have no doubt that they will be. Richmond is very good about those things, and you have some very experienced and capable staff.
Our building inspector is here tonight. Bo, I don't know if you want to provide some insight to Miss Haley for her question.
Yeah, Bo, if you're on the call, you want to hit *6 to unmute yourself.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, Bo, good evening.
Hi,
Yeah.
Bo.
Diane, can you repeat your question?
Bo, I just want to make sure when they begin the construction of this building that someone like yourself will go out there to make sure it's being put up where they say it's going to be put up.
Yes, when they dig the foundation, I'll advise Mrs. Smith, give me a call, and I'll go out and make sure that where they dig the foundation is where it's shown on the map that is referenced in the exhibit.
All right, so you will inspect that area before the building is even constructed?
Yes, when I'll tell Mrs. Smith once they dig the hole for the foundation, I'll go up and look at it. If it's in the wrong location, we can relocate the foundation hole without any problem.
Okay, all right, that's good, okay. All right, I just have one other question, and I don't know if this is a possibility. You know, in regards to the berm that's already along my property line, is there any way the Smiths are willing to add a few more trees? There really isn't a lot of coverage from us in the campground. It's just a question.
I think I can speak for Ms. Smith in this regard, that we can, we'll go look over there and do our best to add some additional trees and fill in the gaps on the top of the berm. And
yeah, that would be great. There's not a whole lot of trees, and there's a lot of site, you know, that we can see, and we would really appreciate it. It would go a long way.
I think we'll work to be good neighbors in that regard.
All right, excellent. Glad to hear it.
Nick, can I ask a question?
Of course.
Would those additional trees on the top of the berm that you're talking about, Diane, would they assist in blocking your view of this new building?
Well, that's what I'm trying to figure out. I mean, we can clearly from my yard see the massive firewood business, and I know the building is going to be in that vicinity. So having additional trees would really help. I mean, we still get a lot of, you know, we still see a lot of the campers in the summer and the vehicles. The additional trees would be a bonus for us.
May I make a suggestion here?
Of course, Bo, go ahead.
This Russell Brown. You know, I think the pine trees on the top, if you plant them on top of that berm, generally once they start growing, they lose their needles on the lower part of the tree, so you can see through them. But my suggestion would be if Mrs. Smith is agreeable, that they plant some on the lower part, on the facing the campground. So when they grow up, you'll have branches that have needles on them.
I think that's a good suggestion, Mr. Brown.
That makes perfect sense.
Because otherwise, those on top of that berm, I believe they're white pine. I believe, if I recall correct, and the lower part, probably the lower 5 to 6 feet, generally turns brown, loses the needles, and that's the way they grow.
Mm-hmm.
That's my comment.
Yeah, Bo, that's all well and good, but I'll be honest, pine trees that are on there now, they're basically like sticks. I mean, there really is no foliage on them whatsoever. So anything that can be done would really be appreciated.
Yeah. I can, maybe this spring I'll give Mrs. Smith, if she's agreeable, a call and we'll go out and take a look at it in the area of your house, Diane.
All right, thank you, Bob.
All right, Miss Haley, anything else?
No, it's all good. Thank you for listening to me.
Of course.
I appreciate it.
Thank you. All right, thank you, Miss Haley. I see a couple attendees. Anybody else have any comments or questions for the applicant? If so, please raise your hand. All right, I don't see any hands raised. Any board members have any additional questions for the applicant? All right, I will, at this point, Karen, we close the public meeting.
Yeah, if nobody has any other questions or comments, you can ask for a motion to close the public hearing.
All right, I'll make that motion to close the public hearing. Is there a second?
Second, Mr. Daniel Charter.
All in favor?
Chelsea
Take a
Batinger,
roll
aye.
call, Nick?
Sure. Chelsea Batinger, I just heard an aye.
Yes.
Let's see. Karen, let's see. Lindsay Hannon-Yag,
Aye.
Sean Carney.
Aye.
Let's see. Should have probably paid a little more attention to who I had. Daniel, did we do you yet?
Oh, I'll say aye as well.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Daniel. We'll get through this. Myself, Nick Solitro, aye. And did I miss anybody?
Yeah, Sean.
Sean Carney. How could I forget Sean?
You already did me, but that's okay. Aye.
Oh, okay.
This is what I get. You can't, you can only trust yourself. All right. So the public hearing is closed. We'll open it to discussion amongst board members.
Mr. Chairman, I think that the applicant has demonstrated an agreeableness to meet the one concern from the neighbor. I've been using Google Maps and looking at a satellite image, and with comparison to the survey, been pretty well confident is exactly where this is going to go. And there's no doubt there's an awful lot of foliage, but I can see where the neighbors' concerns are, and with the applicant's willingness to reinforce that, I don't see any reason to deny the applicant.
I agree with you. The only thing that jumps out at me, and this is my Achilles heel, I'm unfortunately a lawyer. So I always think about what are the terms that we're going to put on this. Attorney Surdette and Ms. Smith seem very agreeable. Do we put a condition on this, or do we just trust that they'll do what they've agreed to do? And if we do put a condition, what are the terms of that condition? Is it 2 trees, 5 trees, enough trees to screen the area? And that brings us, just at least my mind, back to something that came up with, I think, the second to last solar project we dealt with, where we required some screening, and then there was suggestion, well, what if there's a hole in the line of trees? We're going to have somebody calling our building official every day. It's just, my concern is more practical. How are we going to handle this? I do see Attorney Surdette's hand raised. If he has a suggestion, I'm happy to hear it.
I know I'm not allowed to talk during once the public hearing's closed. Karen's made me aware of that in the past. So thank you. Ms. Smith we would be agreeable to following reasonable recommendations of Mr. Brown. So if you wanted to include that Mr. Brown and Ms. Smith will meet on the site and will follow his reasonable recommendations regarding plantings on or adjacent to the berm.
That works for me. In my opinion, I don't think there's many people who have as much experience and are as easy to deal with as Mr. Brown. So if anybody can figure it out, it's him. So I could certainly live with that condition.
Nick, this is Sean Carney. I have one thing that to make the neighbor at ease, and we have the surveyor put some pins where the building goes. That makes Bo's job a lot easier as to where the building is located. Would that be agreeable?
Pins out there, isn't it?
Yeah, we will make sure that there are we have no objection to making sure that there's some documentation by the surveyor, by Jackson Surveying regarding clarifying that where the proposed storage building, clarifying it on boots on the ground relative to our Exhibit 1.
Thank you. I just thinking that if, I just recently did a building, and if I had the surveyor come in and put the pins, that way the building officials had no problem locating and making sure it was in the right location. I think that would be something, it would be relatively easy and make everybody at ease.
I think if there was any question in Bo Brown's mind as to where this is, if it's not in the right location or what have you, he's not approving it anyway. He certainly does a good job with his job. So practically speaking, I think, Sean, that's a good idea. But I know Mr. Brown isn't going to mess around with it. He'll know or certainly make sure that it's in the correct spot before he approves anything. Any other discussion amongst the board? I don't have anything. All right. I believe that leaves us to a motion. I'm happy to jump on it as my penance for recusing for the past couple of months. So I'll take a stab at it. All right. I make a motion to approve the special use permit filed by applicant Wawalum Reservation, Inc. Property address 510 Gardner Road, Assessor's Plat 1E, Lot 117. It's in an R2 zoning district. They are seeking a special use permit for a proposed storage building with dimensions of 165 feet by 70 feet. And it's approximately 24 feet tall. The reason for this is they run a campground on the site, and we heard testimony from Miss Smith. She'd like a watertight covered area to store some of their machinery. It would situate that machinery, in her words, out of the way. It would appear to be more aesthetically pleasing as such. We heard testimony that deciduous trees, those leafy trees, as well as evergreen trees surround this area, such that surrounding lots either wouldn't be able to see, it would be shielded from the surrounding lots, or it would be very difficult to see this proposed structure from those lots. There was public comment from Miss Haley, who called in. She's an abutter at lot 2-5. She had concerns about being able to see this, and credit to the applicant and Miss Haley for working out a potential problem very quickly. I would, as a condition of approval here and as a part of my motion, include, again, as a condition, that the applicant follow reasonable recommendations of the town building official with respect to screening the proposed structure. In proposed structure alone, I know there was suggestion of other things that Miss Haley might not like seeing, but I'm not sure that that's appropriate for a condition here. So reasonable recommendations from the building official to screen from Miss Haley's residence the proposed structure. Based on that, and based on the testimony, it appears that the proposed use will not substantially or permanently harm the surrounding property. Again, it appears as though the properties are sufficiently screened from the proposed use. That's trees and underbrush. Further, it appears neither the proposed use nor its location will result in conditions that will harm the public health, safety, and welfare. In fact, we heard testimony that by putting the equipment and machinery within this watertight structure, it would actually improve the public health, safety, and welfare by keeping these rusty machines, and I have to imagine any type of fluid or fuel from the machines seeping out into our environment. And additionally, the proposed use will be in harmony with the general purpose and intent of this title. I didn't hear any testimony whatsoever that would be contradictory to that. And for those reasons, I make the motion to approve. Karen, did I miss anything?
I think you got everything, Nick.
All right. Is there a second?
Sean Carney, I'll second.
Oh, one thing, I'm sorry.
Sure, no, please.
That the location of the building be, in compliance with Exhibit 1.
Sure. I'll incorporate that into my motion. Thank you, Karen. And Sean, is there a second?
Yep, Sean Carney, I'll second that.
All right. I'll take a roll call vote. Chelsea Battinger,
Aye.
Daniel Josepher,
Aye.
Lindsay Hannon Yag,
Aye.
Sean Carney,
Aye.
Nick Solitro, aye. All right. Thank you, Ms. Smith. Thank you, Attorney Surdette. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. Always a pleasure to appear before this board. Have a good evening.
You too.
Thank you.
All right. That brings us to our adjournment. I'll make a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
Sean Carney, I'll second.
John, and I think Chelsea might have beaten you.
I think Sean beat her.
Oh, yeah, okay. All right. I don't.
I put him down first.
You are the professional, Mary Ellen. I'm not going to argue with you.
Well,
So
that's who I put, so I don't know.
All
What do
right.
you think? What do you think, Sam? It's your choice.
we'll go to a roll call, and I'll start with Chelsea. Aye. I saw her and shake her head and say aye. Sean Carney. I saw Sean say aye. Daniel,
Aye.
Lindsay Hannon Yag,
Aye.
and Nick Solitro, aye. Thank you, everybody. Good seeing you guys again.
Thank you.
Night,
Good job,
everybody.
guys.
Good night. See you.
Good night.
Okay.
Night, everyone.
Good night. Good night, Sean.